Wasted money on cures. Forgot how to fix myself. They say that time is free. Then why is it so precious? Oh, I'll say memories in my head, like Polaroids on walls. They remind you to look ahead. Time is running out. Time is running out. Lately I've lost my track. I've sailed the deepest seas, hoping to find something to bring back better times. Oh, I'll say memories in my head, like Polaroids on walls. They remind you to look ahead. But time is running out. 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 Time is running. Time is running out. But time is running out. What if my best days are over? They can't be over. They can't be over now. Time is running out. What if my best days are over? They can't be over now. Time is running out. Time is running out. Time is running out.
Okay, hi there. Welcome, everybody. Thanks for joining in on lunchtime on a Wednesday during half term. But I know people are just starting to get the revision going again for paper 3 on Monday, the 5th of June. It'll all be over, I think, by lunchtime, pretty much, unless you have an exam class, of course. It'll all be over. You'll have taken your A-level exams, and then we just have that wait until the results come out in August. So we're 2/3 of the way, 70% of the way through the exam. All the more reason, I think, to absolutely smash the next paper and give yourself the best chance. So we've got loads of live streams coming up. One at 1 o'clock today, straight after this, on labour markets, which we think is a hot topic for synoptic economics. And then tomorrow we're looking at exchange rates, balance of payments, and poverty and inequality as 2 synoptic topics. But to start with, I thought we'd do something slightly different, just for a short session. A lot of people asking, I want some tough multiple choice. These are the ones you've shown us have been too easy, just too easy in the last couple of months. And obviously AQA, OCR, multiple choices in part of paper 3. Not for Edexcel, but I just challenge the Edexcel students out there to go for this. See what you can get. I want to see who can get the top score out of 20 in today's session. Obviously, we'll explain the answers as we go through, but also critically try and show some of the diagrams that could be super useful for you Edexcel students as well in your synoptic paper. As always, if you want to post your answer in the chat window or make a comment or ask a question or tell a joke, you need to subscribe to the channel, so please do so. If you're finding the session useful, please press the like button so others can find us. If you're finding the session totally useless, then just press the like button so that people can avoid us. Here we go. Here's the first question. There are 20 multiple choice questions coming up. Who can get the top score? After every 5, we'll take a break and see where the scores are. The diagram shows a mark in which there are negative externalities of production, but positive externalities of consumption. Oh, mixed externalities. What is the marginal external cost at the free market equilibrium level of output? So here we go. This is a tough one. Questions, answers are going to be coming through. I'll point out some of the answers as they appear. So what do we reckon on this one? What's the marginal external cost at the free market equilibrium? So we have positive externalities of consumption, but our question is about marginal external cost. So Jack says it's A, Jacob A. A couple of people saying C and D. Most people saying it's A, E.g. Okay, here we go. Answers coming up. It is indeed A. Great start. Yeah, free market equilibrium is where private cost equals private benefit, which is output Q1. And you only have to find the marginal external cost, which is EG. Now, not many questions on externalities so far in my board at Edexcel. So I'm hoping for expecting maybe externalities of environmental questions. Who knows, the economics of gigafactories or electric vehicles, perhaps, in paper 3, but there's a mixed externality there. Great start. Question number 2, the table shows the average, so the levels of total and average utility at different levels as a consumer consumes a certain amount of a product per week. After which level of weekly consumption does diminishing marginal utility kick in? At what level of consumption per week does diminishing marginal utility kick in? What do you reckon? Just to give you a clue, by the way, on all of these questions, the answer is either A, B, C, or D. Hopefully that's helpful. Fred says, is there a Nando's order list being made? Yeah, Fred, if you start it off, so if you need a Nando's order during the session, just ping it in the chat window and I'll do my best. What do we think? Quite a difference of opinion here. Rosa thinks it's C and Lucy thinks it's B. Tom and Ollie and Amber think it's B as well. A couple of people think it's E. Fortunately, only a couple of people. Let's have a look at the answer. The answer is A. So after which level of consumption diminishing returns? So the marginal utility of the first unit is 4. The marginal utility of the second unit is 5. The marginal utility of the third unit is 6. But the fourth unit only has a marginal utility of 5. So it's after the third unit. So if that makes sense. Now, I used to have a totally hilarious joke on diminishing utility, but I don't tell it often because the more times you tell it, the less funny it becomes. Next question. By the way, keep your own score. I won't be collecting the papers in, so please keep your own score. Jake's just arrived, but Jake actually probably not too far away because most people got that wrong. So here we go. The diagram shows a firm in imperfect competition. What level of output would maximize total revenue? When do you maximize revenue? Bruno, welcome back to Bruno, one of our great contributors. Jack and Het all say B. The Riddler says A. Who are we to disagree with one of the great economists of this group? Matt and Sam and Tom and Jake say B. Lucy says B. Ollie Sherwin says B. One of the great footballers in the group in the GTU collective. Let's double check the answer. The answer is indeed B. You maximize revenue where MR equals 0. For paper 3, Edexcel fans, don't forget business objectives, costs and revenues didn't really appear on paper 1, did it? So I'm expecting shifts in costs and revenues and things maybe to be a feature of one of those questions. So the answer there is B. Question 4 coming up. Now this, you asked for challenging questions, everybody. You asked for tough questions, so don't blame me. The diagram shows a decrease in demand for a profit maximizing monopolist. The question is, which area shows the change in the monopolist's supernormal profits because of this decrease in demand? The change in profits because of this decrease in demand. Now this is a toughie, but again, Edexcel fans will be using, I reckon, be using cost and revenue curve analysis in your exam on Monday because it's not really featured, the theory of the firm. Robin thinks C. Paddy Corbett thinks C. And Jimmy, but Jimmy thinks B. Quite a few people saying C. Rosetta and Luke are saying C. Raphael, Jerry and May are saying C. Most people seem to be saying C. It's a tough one. Have a look at the answer coming up. It is indeed C. Yes, the key thing here is that profit goes down. The new level of profit is JMLK, but the original profit was much bigger than that, obviously. So the new level of profit is fallen by IHGLMJ, which were my forecast grades at A level back in the day. Question number 5. Again, you asked for tough questions, everybody. You asked for tough questions. Okay. Which phrase best describes the market structure illustrated by the diagram if the firm produces at output Q1? What do we reckon? Answer will come through in a second. Fred reckons there'll be labour markets on paper 3. I hope so, Fred, because I'm doing a session on labour markets at 1 o'clock. What do we reckon here on this one? Ben and Kieran and Luke and Bea think it's D. And the collective, the Tutor collective, about which much has been written and said, tend to think it's D. So look at the answer coming up. Jim in the basement clicks the machine and it clicks to D. It is indeed, yeah. So it's a state monopoly. Do you recognize this diagram, everybody? It's a natural monopoly diagram of a type, falling average cost. If you price at marginal cost, that's where the state can basically set the price. And if it prices at marginal cost, it's efficient, allocatively efficient. Aaron says, I believe a natural monopoly, correct. But the price is below average cost, you're making a loss. You can get this by a process of elimination, of course. Yeah, George says, I wonder if Edexcel will combine market structures and financial markets, both basically untested so far. Give us an extract on fintech and challenger banks. Well, if Carlsberg did exam questions, George, that would be very close. Would it be interesting if they had financial markets in the context of market structures and theory of the firm? Really interesting. George says, will you release Jim after paper 3? No. Okay, let's do a quick next slide, please. We're now 25%. Wow, I did this graphic. It's made me all morning. Can we quickly post in your chat, please, your score out of 5? Let's see who's got a decent, and let's be honest, come on. What if you've got a decent score? If you've got more than 3, post your answer. Matt's got 4, Ollie's got 5 out of 5. Early front runner. Rosetta has a good score, 4 out of 5. Quite a few there. Ben and Lydia have 4, which is excellent. Bruno Pagano has 4 out of 5. Alex Howard has 5 out of 5. Well done. Social Strikers has got 6. George says I got 3 right, but I turned up late. So 100% basically. Don't turn up late on Monday. Here we go. Next set of 5. Diagram shows demand curve and average costs, marginal costs for a firm in perfect competition for eggs. Cracking question. Firm initially in equilibrium, as you can see, at £1.25. If the market price increases to £1.50, wait, what will happen? So what do we think? George says it's paper 3 morning, afternoon. It's in the morning. 9 o'clock. If you can make it, George, that would be great. So what do we reckon on this one? What will happen if the market price increases to £1.50? Again, I think on this one, process of elimination, Wyvern and the Riddler. Yeah, Charlie, this is a past question from AQA, I think, paper 3 AQA. Rosa and Malachi and Shale and Louis all have the right answer. Congratulations on that. Here's the answer coming up. It is B. Process of elimination. It's a 20% increase, isn't it, in average revenue? The demand curve would shift up. There'd be a new demand curve. So well done on that. A couple of people saying C, it won't be supernormal profits in the long run because it's perfect competition. So those profits get competed away. Aaron says, it's paper 3, the 3rd economics paper. Aaron, you're bang on form today. It is indeed the 3rd economics paper. I'm hoping that Aaron turned up to the first 2 papers. And Inspector Slim says it's the first time doing economics since paper 2. Question number 7. Equilibrium changes from X to Y. What area represents the new consumer surplus? Which area shows the new consumer surplus? So again, I'm trying to pick out some great diagram questions that have come up. What can we think here? And the new consumer surplus, not the original, not the change, but just simply the new level. And the Tutor Collective is superb coming up. And the answer is indeed coming up on the screen. A, yep, A, Y, C. Shift in demand causes an increase in consumer surplus. Now, Bruno has asked me to give a shout out to Paddy. Apparently, it's Paddy's birthday today, Paddy Corbett. So can we all please wish Paddy Corbett, if it is his birthday, a very happy birthday. Yeah, question, George, Edexcel fans, there was a question on producer surplus in paper 1, which didn't have the right answer. There was no correct answer. Now, don't worry about that because the exam board are aware of that. There was a question about the increase in producer surplus. You can't have producer surplus if output contracts. So don't worry about that rogue question. The exam board are aware of it, so you'll be fine. George also says, Jeff, did you hear they had an Irish extract for AQA paper 2? I did, and I think you are our Irish economy expert. Here we go. Next question. A firm operating in imperfect competition decides to change its objective from sales revenue max to sales volume maximization. Why might it have decided to do this? Can we have a go at question 8, please? What do we reckon? That question, I'm not sure, but they will take it into account. Question 8, have a go. All questions coming through. Thanks, by the way, for your birthday wishes for Paddy. Paddy appreciates. He gets more birthday wishes online than he does in real world. Mixture of questions coming up here, actually. A lot of people saying B, quite a few people saying C and A. What do we reckon for this one? Question coming through, the answer coming through now. The answer is B. If you go from sales revenue to sales volume, you're likely to have lower profits. It's actually a bigger output than sales revenue maximization. Sales volume is where price equals average cost. You're just making normal profit. The aim, of course, is to maximize your market share, but you probably won't minimize short and average cost. There's no guarantee you will, partly because if you produce more output, you may go beyond the optimum output for the firm. Question 9. Coming up, diagram shows the firm's demand curve and its marginal revenue curve. The firm initially sells OQ1 at the price of OP1. The firm increases its price by 10%. 10%. What will happen? So this is a question really about the demand curve, price elasticity of demand, and total revenue. I have to give a shout out to Joe Wayne. He's a big mate of somebody in the group. That's nice. What do we think? Answers coming through. Most people saying C, which is good. Lauren and Paddy and iBoy and Becca and Kelly, Lydia, all saying C. Let's check the answer. It is indeed C. Now, very helpfully, what I've done there, I thought I'd just help the collective, is just show what happens if you increase the price. When demand is inelastic, which is to the left of Q1, for a price increase, of course, you get a little extra revenue per unit, but your sales will fall even more. Okay, so the upper part of the demand curve is price inelastic, a mirror for a price increase. It's price elastic for a price decrease, but it's price inelastic for a price increase. A couple of people, again, saying it's E. It's not E. Diagram shows a monopsonist, so labour market fans. In the absence of a trade union or a minimum wage, how many people will the firm employ and at what wage? How many people will the firm employ and at what wage? This is a monopsony diagram. We love a monopsony diagram, don't we? I think we've covered it several times in our revision sessions together. Loads of answers coming through. Matt and Flora, Tommy and Ginny. Even Bruno has got this question right, which is a remarkable achievement. And Paddy celebrating his birthday with the right answer as well. Here's the answer coming through. The answer is D, isn't it? So profit maximization is where MRPL meets MCL. The value of the output is W2, but the monopsonist only has to pay W3, and there is the element there of exploitation. If they choose, as Rosetta says, to be mean, or if they choose to be a monopsonist, they don't have to be a monopsonist. Okay, we're halfway through. I think that's confirmed. Look at that road there. Okay, you're halfway there. Can you please post into the chat your scores? Ben has 9. Ash has 8. Great score, Ash. Peter has 8. These are good scores. Okay. I'm looking for scores here. King Shing's got 9. Ollie's got 10. Luke is living on a prayer. Rosa's got 8. Sam's got 9. Really, really good. Okay, these are good scores. Let's crack on, shall we? Now we're moving to macro, everybody. So here we go. Diagram shows 4 possible aggregate supply curves. Equilibrium at X. Government introduces a deflationary fiscal policy to reduce inflation. AD shifts to AD2. Which AS curve would be the most effective policy to bring down the rate of inflation? What do we think? Jack's got 10, by the way. Just wants everybody to know that. And Vivek's got 9. A couple of people joined late. Okay, which policy would be the most effective, given which aggregate supply curve would be therefore the most effective in bringing inflation down for a deflationary fiscal policy? I think most people have got the right answer. On multiple choice out of 30, Jasper, I think 24, 25 will be certainly an A star. The answer coming up on the screen is indeed A. You're looking for the deepest fall in the price level. That will have the greatest disinflationary effect. Question 12. Which one of the following combinations, A, B, C, or D, but not E, Rashad, shows the essential characteristics of a customs union? So what do we think here? What are the essential characteristics of a customs union? Very important. Globalization, trade, protectionism, European Union, that kind of stuff. Here we go. What do we think? A lot of people saying B, a couple of people saying C. Customs union, of course, is the second stage of intervention or integration between countries. Here we go. The answer coming up. It is indeed B. Yeah, it's customs union, free trade, common external tariff, but they haven't gone the next stage or stages to become a single market or a customs union. By the way, if you need a shout out for your teacher or for your friends, post them in the chat. And we're also a bit light on Nando's menu options at the moment. Okay, now this is the interesting question. This is a toughie. Okay, if you get this right, total respect. 4 students are asked to complete a table showing the aggregate demand equation and the multiplier for a closed economy without a government. Closed economy without a government. So shout outs to Mr. Mason, to George Bulldog says, can you give a shout out to George Bulldog? Happily, George. Mr. Hall. Now this is a tough one. What is the formula for the multiplier and for aggregate demand? Quite a few people saying A, and it's not A. Closed economy means no trade, so we can ignore X and M. And no government, we can ignore G and T. Okay, nobody can avoid G and T normally, but here we go. What's the formula for aggregate demand and what's the formula for multiplier? Here we go. The answer is B, because you're taking out X to G and X minus M. So AD was C plus I plus G plus X minus M. We get rid of the G, get rid of the X minus M, and of course the multiplier is 1 over the propensity to withdraw. And there's only one leakage, which is saving. The correct answer could also be expressed as 1 over 1 minus the marginal propensity to consume. Question 14. Love this question. I absolutely adore this question. Let's go for this one. Assume the Chinese military authorities are committed to maintaining the exchange rate, the yuan or the renminbi, between P1 and P2. What might they do if supply changed from S1 to S2? So the idea is the semi-fixed exchange rate, you're going to try and maintain the value of the yuan against the dollar in between those two figures, between P1 and P2. Supply shifts out. Ordinarily, that drives the yuan down against the dollar. What might the Chinese central bank do if they're committed to maintaining the exchange rate? Now, a lot of people are saying B here, lower interest rates. Of course, that would force the exchange rate even lower, and the exchange rate has already fallen. So you need to prevent a further fall in the exchange rate. So I think Jay's got the right answer. A lot of people saying C. A couple of people saying A. Malachi saying A, and Alex and Bruno and James. And indeed, the answer is A. Let's just go through this. If you cut interest rates, you get an outflow of hot money. So that would cause the yuan to fall even further. If you remove tariffs on imports from the USA, again, that makes US imports cheaper, and therefore that would cause the yuan to fall. If you sell yuan on the foreign exchange markets, the same effect. If you reduce controls on China's investment overseas, you're preventing money leaving the Chinese economy, a capital control, which would reverse the fall in the increase in the supply of yuan. Monetary authorities is the central bank. And of course, the central bank has the power to intervene in the markets, to impose capital controls, and to change the exchange rates. Okay, here we go. So next question, question 15. Conscious of time here, so I'll crack on. Diagram shows demand and supply curves for solar panels. USA put a tariff on imported solar panels. What's the quantity of imported solar panels after the imposition of the tariff? What do we reckon? Mrs. Prosper is getting a shout out for the students, I think, at Trent College. Fantastic school. Nice tariff question. Many of you will be using maybe tariff questions in your exams on Monday. Here's the answer. Most people are saying D. Chris loved the tariff diagram. And the answer is indeed D. Yeah, the tariff raises the price to P1. Imports get squeezed from MR to NP. Most of you got that right, which is excellent. Question. Oh, we're 3/4 of the way through. Doesn't time fly? Look at that, 75%. Or even 3/4 of the way through. Okay, quick scores on the doors, please. In the chat window, shout out to Mr. Mahoney and Mr. Hobday, Mr. Deacon. Apparently, Mr. Hobday's catchphrase is every day is a Hobday. Presumably, you've given him some hobnobs at the end of the 2-year course. And Jeff, can you give a shout out to Tom Settle? That name rings a bell, actually. Is he one of the great economics teachers at my school? Luca's got 26 out of 25. Luca, you are ahead, I think. Robin's got 13. I think he's keeping an honest score. And Paddy, 12. Jacob's got 13. Ines has got 15. Canav's got 14. This is unbelievable. This is fantastic. Here we go. Last 5 coming up. Now, this is a tough one. Okay. George asked for a shout out for Mr. Britton. Happy to give a shout out to Mr. Britton and Mr. Stockel as well, and to Mr. Munday. What can you? They've got some data here on consumption and income. So as income goes up, consumption is rising. What can be concluded about changes in the marginal propensity to consume and average propensity to consume as income rises? So you have to work out the MPC and the APC here. Musical Journey says, shout out to Stuart Hibbard, the best economics teacher in the world. Well, must be in the top 10. Berlin says, shout out to Dr. Persas. He must be in the top 100 teachers. Here we go. What do we reckon? Jack says C. What do we reckon on this one? The marginal propensity to consume. What's happening to that as income rises? What's happening to the average propensity to consume? So as far as I can see, Rowan and Lydia and Ash have the right answer, but quite a few of you have made a mistake on this one. Unless I've made a mistake. I don't think I have. Vivan has got the right answer, and Kelly and Tom. Here's the answer coming through for you on the screen. It's B. The marginal propensity to consume is always 0.8, isn't it? Because as income goes up by 100, consumption's rising, as far as I can see, by 80 each time. So MPC is constant. But the average is falling. Consumption divided by income is the APC, that's falling. It was above 1. It's now, it falls. Okay. So it is indeed B. Great answers, everybody. Well done. 4 to go. Again, this is a toughie. Okay. The world trade price of cars is $10,000. At this price, domestic car producers supplied 100,000 cars. Consumers purchased 200,000 cars. So you have to import 100,000. The government introduces a tariff of 10% on imported cars. Now, this is a tricky question. Under which conditions will this import tariff raise the most revenue for the government? Was that a 0.8 for MPC, because every time income rose by 100, consumption rose by 80. That's 0.8. Shout out to Mr. Sylvester. What do we reckon on this one? And Miss Bell. She's the best, according to Luca. Now, which tariff will raise the most revenue? You almost got to visualize the elasticity of demand and supply here. If the aim of the government, it could be a developing country, is to really drive the revenue from a tariff rather than shift production, what's going to cause the most tariff revenue? Quite a few of you are saying C, and it's not C. Innes has the right answer. Rosetta and Ben and Tom also have the right answer. And it's coming up on your screen. Well done to Salma as well. It's low elasticity of both. So you don't get the domestic supply expansion, low elasticity of supply. You don't get the domestic demand contractions. You end up with still a high volume of imports, but with a tariff. So you get the revenue coming in. So really good question, that one. Low elasticity of supply and demand is the key for governments to maximize the revenue. Inspector Slim says, Jeff, what's your least favorite movie you've ever seen? Wow. I've seen a few turkeys in my time. I went to see a film called Equilibrium, I think with Tom Cruise. And I left after about 20 minutes. There wasn't a single supply and demand diagram on show at all. So the answer there is A. That is a tough question. 3 to go. And you asked for tough questions, everybody. Diagram shows the original demand curve, supply curve for electric cars. Ooh, electric cars. Ooh, could that be paper 3? The government decides to provide a subsidy to electric car makers. What? A synoptic subsidy. Which area represents the total revenue of the car manufacturer? Now, to give you a clue here, the answer isn't just A, B, or C, or D. The answer actually starts with O. I just want to be helpful to the Tutor Collective. Jay and Sam and Ginny, super quick. Clyde is very quick as well. Wow. Yeah, here we go. Ollie and Wyvern. Answer coming up on the screen. The answer is A, correct. Because, of course, you've got to add the subsidy on top. So, although they're selling at price G and quantity Y, they've got the subsidy of ERNG. So, the total level is OERY. Merlin got it right. I think Merlin's playing a massive cricket game this afternoon. So, huge thanks to Merlin for making the effort. Unless, of course, he's been dropped or he can't play. Okay, so, okay. Tom says, surely electric cars won't come up as they were on paper 1 micro acre. Oh, right, okay. Highly unlikely, but we didn't have it. I'm at Edexcel, and electric cars didn't really come up. So I'm hoping that might ignite paper 3. Aaron says, Jeff, who's your favourite cricketer? Well, I'm named after one of the greatest cricketers of all time. He used to play for Yorkshire. Luke says, Jeff, are you a lemon and herb man? I am, actually. I'm also a hummus and chili drizzle man, Luke, if you ask it. Now, this is the hardest question that I've ever asked. It's our penultimate question. It's also the last. It's the one before the end. The table below shows selected macro variables over a period. Now, Alex, his brain is hurting. Alex, your brain will be hurting seriously after this. What is the value of the multiplier? If anybody gets this, by the way, is a serious economist, right? So whilst you're having to go, I'll answer some questions. So you've got to try and work out the value of the multiplier from this data. National income goes up from year 1 to year 2. That's the change in income. To give you a clue, you need to work out the propensities to import, save, and tax. Okay. Tough one. Jeffrey Borgert is the right answer. George says, Jeff, I do not have a calculator. I am not working that one out, but I love you, but no. Well, George, take a moment, take a breather. Could financial markets come up paper 3? Yes. What do we think here? What do we think? A couple of people saying C. A few people saying it's B. What do we think on this one? The government's now removed the consumer subsidy on electric cars, but there are lots of tax reliefs and subsidies now, in particular to electric battery manufacturers. Jeff Risley says, Jess, what's your go-to meal deal? Tesco's, if you're asking, Jeff. Tesco's is my favourite meal deal. Of all the other meal deals are available. Here's the answer coming up. It is C. National income rises by 200 million. Sorry, 20 million. Sorry, 20. 200. It goes up. So basically, the marginal propensity to withdraw is 4 or 40. Is that right? Yes. Yeah, national income goes up by 200. The leakages go up by 40. So rate of withdrawal is 0.2. Multiplies 1 over the marginal rate of withdrawal. 1 over 0.2. The multiplier becomes 5. So the answer is C. Anybody got that right? Total respect. One more question in this session. Here we go. And it's a favourite one. It's a trade question. Oh, lovely. Table shows the amount of good X or good Y that can be used by country R and country T if they use their resources. What can you conclude from that table? So country R can produce 80 of X or 100 of Y. Country T can produce 20 of X or 80 of Y. What can you conclude? Rosetta says, I'm coming back to this later. These are probably a lie down after this session. We do record this, of course, you'll be able to go through it again. So this is interesting. Can you work out the advantage here? Jack has gone very quickly for A. A couple of people saying B. What's coming through here? A lot of people saying A. What do we think? Okay, in fact, the majority of people saying A. Let's double check. Jasmine and Ollie and Jake and Ahmed. Indeed, yeah, country R can produce more of both, has an absolute advantage, but it's 4 times as good at producing X, but only really 1.25 times as good at producing good Y. So it has a comparative advantage, relative advantage in X, as well as an absolute advantage in both. So country T there would specialize in output of product Y to benefit from comparative advantage theory. Wow, 20 questions. Now that was a different session. Can you please post in your chat? We've got one more slide, I think. Nope. Well, the next slide is me. Can you post in your... Oh, there we go. What's your score? Now, the reason I posted this picture is I'm hoping you were keeping track of your scores. See what I did there? Toby 15, Luke 18, Tom 16. Fantastic. Ollie got 17. He thought the few tough macro ones caught me out, but top learning points. Lydia 16. Fantastic. Ben says 18 out of 20. I'll take it. Adam 15, super score. Matteo 15, Matty 17, great scores. Shale got 17, a Het 14. All these are great scores. Alex 18 out of 20, Sam Phillips 17, Merlin 17, and Jasmine got 16, which is a great score as well. Wow, those were challenging questions. And did anybody get 20 out of 20? Just trying to see who got the top score. Wyvern 16 and Kinching got 17, which is a great score. Absolutely fantastic. Cutthroat Kilbert says 0 out of 20 don't want the right answers. Well, that's not the right approach to take. Well done, everybody. Super effort there. If you want to go through this again, we'll do a quick record, upload to our tutor2.live website, and you'll be able to replay. That will be a load of fun, wouldn't it? What a thing to do on a Wednesday afternoon. Okay, fantastic. Well done, everybody. I've got to get ready for the session on labour markets. We're going to go back to our synoptic questions and answers. This is our 3rd labour market session in the revision streams. Lots more to come, presumably. So we'll take a break here. Well done, everybody. If you like the session, press like. That'd be great for us. Other people can find us. Let's take a breather. I'll be back at 1 o'clock for half an hour on labour markets with 3-4 new topic areas to revise. Take care. See you soon.